Happy Pride. I don't know how to start this one. Okay. So it's Pride Month, everyone. I think it's everywhere. It's the same. I think in June. Because Pride is in some countries, or in some cities, it's at different times and different dates.
No, I read somewhere that some people have Pride in October or something.
Yeah, for example. But I think the official Pride Month is June.
Okay. So happy Pride to those who celebrate.
Those who celebrate.
I guess what we wanted to talk about in this episode was rainbow washing.
Yeah.
We were thinking about what could we talk about that's kind of related to what we do. That has to do with Pride, or it has to do with the LGBTQ plus community. And I think that's the most relatable one for what we do. So if whoever doesn't know what rainbow washing, I just want to say rain washing, what rainbow washing is, you've probably heard the term greenwashing, and that's like to do with when companies say, for example, like H&M having their sustainable line, but then like all their products are still made with plastic and they're still produced unethically, which has nothing to do with sustainability. And they have their like recycling program, but the thing that people forget is you can't recycle things that are made from several different types of materials. There's no way of recycling that. So it's all very just like fancy words and marketing. It's marketing. So greenwashing, the whole idea of that is that it's companies using buzzwords like sustainability and natural to make people think they're making responsible buying choices for the environment, when in reality it's not that. And the same thing can be said for rainbow washing, which is more to do with like companies using, posting about Pride Month, putting a rainbow over their logo, and they're being very performative about their allyship, but they're not actually putting actions to their words throughout the year when it comes to being an ally to the community.
Yeah. I have a probably controversial opinion about this. Not controversial. I think I would say I'm like torn into two here, because totally agree. If you post about Pride, if you use rainbow in your logos, if you are like suddenly the biggest ally in June, and then you do nothing during the year, or when the community really needs you, I agree that's problematic. Let's put that right there, okay? Now comes the probably controversial opinion. Depending on the times, depending also on where you live, I do think that even if it's just putting out the rainbow, can be like your logo as a rainbow, or like something that kind of shows your allyship to the community, can also sometimes be actually a big step. Maybe not in our world where we are like now in Vienna, Austria. I feel like that's not enough. I agree. However, if you put it in a different context, in a different country, I don't know, I feel like then that's already a bold step.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how far a society is in terms of their acceptance and being able to integrate the community into society, that it's not even it's not an issue in quotations anymore.
Exactly. Like, for example, let's take the current US administration. We all know that they're not, I wouldn't say that they're like very LGBTQIA plus friendly. And I feel like it's already a statement to just like show allyship.
Yeah.
Is it enough? Probably not. I agree again that obviously you should do more than just change your colors and be like, yay, Pride. However, I think in these times it's kind of like a bold move again, which is kind of sad. We like went back. So it should be more than that. That's why I'm like a bit, I'm torn into two here.
My issue is, and this is my issue also with greenwashing, is that companies use these things as marketing tactics. And I'll name another example of this that directly affects us, which is Women's Day. So you'll see Women's Day being used probably by every single brand out there. You'll always get those newsletters with your discounts and some kind of weird marketing ideas that they think women would be interested in.
I got a Barbie newsletter
Yeah.
this year.
I don't know. Like, it's just very all outdated as well. Like, a lot of the language that's used, the colors that are used, and all that. Like, not to even to go into all of that, but just the fact that these marketing things come from companies where the women in positions of power are non-existent in some cases. Like, the CEOs are all male, or maybe there's one female, I don't know, CFO or something. Like, but it's rare. Like, the women are not in those top positions in these companies, but then they're trying to profit off of being an ally towards women or whatever for one day of the year to make even more money as men in positions of power. So that's what pisses me off about those things. And I feel the same way about the rainbow washing, because I feel like every single day of the year you need to be an ally, and it's not something you do just for the month of June, and it's not something you use as a marketing tactic to make more money off of a community you're probably already discriminating against without realizing it, by not hiring people from the community, by not making sure that people like that are having equal chances to become the CEO or whatever.
No, I totally agree. Like, of course, that's a necessary next step, or necessary already implemented step if you use them as for your marketing strategies. I guess I was coming from a viewpoint of when I was growing up, and there wasn't even rainbow washing. Like, then seeing then just allyship from brands, even though it's like super stupid, like seeing marketing directed towards you. I think it was bigger than that. I view it as allyship back then, because there wasn't much in the media, there wasn't much in the ads. It was like crazy to even see an ad like that. It was crazy to see the colors represented like that. However, of course, now we are in a different times, and I feel like there should be a higher standard now. Totally agree with you. I guess I'm just seeing it from two different perspectives, where it's already big, like, I guess in these times, a more bold choice to actually just show your allyship.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so funny when, I mean, even like the example of the US, because you mentioned it, that they're kind of moving backwards in on these topics. And I feel like that's even more of a slap in the face when then you see some rainbow colors coming from a company that said they're like not going to do DEI hiring anymore. Like, I'm not saying DEI hiring particularly benefits the community, but what it does do is benefit marginalized people, and the LGBTQA plus community does include a lot of marginalized people too. That's why they updated the flag to include Black people and trans people, and they are directly affected by DEI hiring, and by that being abolished. So then companies doing that, but then on Pride Month doing their usual marketing with the flag, is just like a slap in the face, because it's like, what has that got to do with anything if you're going to actively harm the community?
No, for sure. Like,
and if you're going to donate to a president who's actively harming the community,
no,
it's just weird.
No, like I said, I totally agree with that standpoint.
Yeah.
I was just like, I guess looking at it from the perspective of maybe even more repressed countries, even more repressed communities, where even that is kind of like a big statement to make, and that's already showing allyship, even though you don't do much besides that. However, totally agree with you. There should be more done than just putting out the flag.
Yeah.
Same for Women's Day. I think that, even though I'm not sure if I can directly make that comparison, because it's like, I feel like LGBTQ plus, especially now, is more political than ever.
Yeah.
And Women's Day is Women's Day. Like, there's a Women's Day, basically.
Yeah, but
even though you should, like, of course, not profit off of that and not do anything besides like send out a newsletter. Totally
So
agree.
one thing I really liked about a newsletter that I received was the one from Trade Republic.
Oh, that was really good.
What they did was, because it's a platform that has mostly to do with investing. Like, they now also have the option to have like all your banking there, but before it was mainly like investments. And what they did is they sent out an email showcasing how women are more likely to be affected by, what was it? Was it like being
I think it non-equal pay.
unequal pay? But oh yes, it was
pension.
like pension, exactly. They were specifically mentioning like how much less money women will have in their when they retire in comparison to men. And they calculated like this value, and then they said they're going to give that amount to so and so many women if you sign up for like the giveaway or whatever. And I thought that was a good way of, one, bringing awareness to a really serious issue, and then two, also giving women, I mean, like obviously not that amount, it was probably something like 5,000 euros. Like it's not life changing, but it's still a lot of money for a lot of people. So I thought that was cool. So that was like an example where, and it wasn't about like, you didn't have to consume anything really. Like you had to sign up and you had to like invest 50 euros. But I mean, if you wanted to do that anyway, then it's like a good way to get into that. Plus with the option that you might win money. I don't know, it just felt better than the other Women's Day things, which are often very, I want to say like out of touch.
I mean, I got another newsletter.
Things that are trying to get you to just consume more of the product.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it was. I think it was a I wish I remembered. I remember it was like an email. It was just like Barbie themed.
Yeah, it's like a lot of stereotyping happening. And I don't know. I just think it's weird.
Yeah, I think it's in general a bit. If I think about it, like in a really deeply, it's kind of icky in general.
Yeah.
To use any kind of, unless it's really within your values, and unless it's like really something you're passionate about and you do a lot, and it's really something you stand for. It's in general icky to use anything for marketing purposes that you don't actually stand for.
That's what I feel like. And also I felt this way about all posts I saw on Instagram, like Happy Women's Day, also from people in our industry, agencies where I know it's 3 men running that agency.
Yeah.
And there's not a single woman in the position of leadership.
Yeah.
And then they're posting about Women's Day with no intention to actually do anything to benefit women. And that's what rubs me the wrong way. And I feel like we didn't even post on Women's Day. And I deliberately didn't, because I feel like we don't do enough for women, even in our position, because I feel like we could even do more. You know, it's like none of us are being activists when it comes to like feminism or anything like that. So I just don't feel like, why should we post about Women's Day and get like, I don't know, clout, I guess, is what people are looking for when they post about that. It just seems weird to me. Like,
I wouldn't say we do nothing. We are still representing. We are still here with this podcast. We are still doing Aufklärungsarbeit.
Educational work.
Yeah, it's like,
obviously,
it depends on the standard.
I'm not saying we're not doing anything, but I'm just saying it's not like we are out there.
No, we're not out there in the streets
doing stuff.
No, but I feel like it depends also on the standards you set for yourself. And it's not, I don't think that we're not doing anything, but I also don't feel like gloating about it on social media.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't think that's the place for that.
Yeah.
Because it's not something for clout.
No, it's something within our values.
And that's how I feel about the rainbow washing. It's all about clout chasing and being seen as someone who cares about those issues, but at the core you don't really care.
Yeah.
Because if you really cared, you wouldn't be sitting behind Trump at his inauguration. You wouldn't be donating to him. You wouldn't be I don't know, like you wouldn't be doing all this other stuff that directly harms the people you're then uplifting in the month of June. Like it makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. That's for sure.
And we see that like mainly in the US, but we see it everywhere, because I'm sure, like I would have to do more research into this, but I'm sure if you look at the companies that are, I mean, you would just have to look at the ratio of LGBTQ plus people represented in those companies is probably very low.
Yeah. I mean, I know
you would have to look at how these people are in their private lives, you know.
Yeah.
How are they talking about these people? How are they supporting these people? How are they voting? Are they voting for politicians that are harming the community? You would have to look at all those details. And I'm sure if you looked at those details, most of them are not allies. Because if most people were allies, like you see most people posting positively in Pride Month, then we wouldn't be in the state that we are right now in so many countries all over the world.
Yeah, it's going backwards.
Yeah, and you see all of these rainbow flags and you think, oh my God, everyone is so supportive of the community. But then you look at the results of like voting and you see the politicians who are in power right now and you think, how does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, just from like anecdotal evidence, I feel like I don't see as many rainbows and as many marketing directed towards LGBTQA plus currently, at least in Vienna.
I mean, we were at Starbucks today and they had that's what inspired us for the episode. They had literally rainbow washing on this magazine. It was like a queer magazine.
Yeah, that and my lovely girlfriend who mentioned this topic.
Yeah, but I suggested it to you because I saw it at Starbucks and you were like, oh, that's what she said too.
Yeah, because again, I'm like so torn about this topic, and I totally agree. It's like if you post something, you should do something. And
I don't think it's a bad to post about Pride Month. There's a reason why we have Pride Month. There's a reason why there's Black History Month in the US. It's important to talk about these topics and uplift people and center them. But like, what does that really bring them if you're not going to follow through after June and before June?
Yeah,
and even during June behind closed doors and whatever.
Of course, isn't there this one brand? It was a beer brand, I think Bud Light.
Yeah,
it was like facing extreme controversy.
Yeah, it was Bud Light. I don't even remember what they did.
I think
it was something about
influencer.
It was a trans woman.
It was a trans woman who drank Bud Light. I don't know. She was just like. I don't know. It was just like a marketing.
It was an ad.
It was an influencer ad, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, blew up. People went crazy, and I think now they don't even have anything LGBTQIA plus related in their marketing for June month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just shows you like they didn't like the backlash. They possibly lost sales because of it. And then you see where their priorities lie. And their priorities are not to help the community, it's to make money, and you see that in every single one of these companies.
No,
they see a marketing opportunity, and as soon as it goes the wrong way, they'll be like, okay, I guess we won't be doing that next year. Yeah. So I think, I don't know, I get what you're saying, and I think it is important. I don't think it's a harmful thing necessarily. I think it's just harmful because people may feel like they're being used for a cause that doesn't benefit them.
Yeah.
Because marketing only benefits the company.
Yeah, of course. But so like in general, if marketing takes any day or any cause, it's like just to profit off of that.
Yeah.
I don't see any other reason why someone would market something. You want to like appeal to a target group. So I think in this case, all marketing towards all causes is to make money off of you, because if you were really like intrinsic about it and be like, no, I just want to like benefit the community, I want to benefit women or whatever, you just do all those things within your company, you implement everything, but you don't need to go outside and be like, and here's some marketing thing, so buy even more from us. Like it could just happen and you could just implement these things without adding some kind of price tag.
That's the thing, like
to it. Like, so in this case, if I think about it like in a really big picture, that everything is icky, that you start marketing towards people who are marginalized, towards people, like when you use marketing as politics, to sell something, not to bring like awareness or whatever. I mean, you can do also, I guess it is awareness, like brand awareness, to make more sales. I don't know, it's such a difficult topic, it's so nuanced.
I think my main issue is just that I just don't believe that these companies are doing enough within their company to ensure that it's a safe space for a community that they then use to potentially make more sales or to increase not brand awareness, but like to make their brand image more positive among that community. It's like, it's just a joke.
Yeah, it's just a target group for them.
Yeah,
marketing towards a target group.
It's just marketing with the goal is to make their brand image appeal to that group or to appeal to allies of that group. And then they turn around and don't make their workplace a safe place for those people.
Yeah.
So it's like, great.
Yeah, no, it's That's definitely a huge issue. I think back when it all started, for me, the allyship was enough. But I think as it progressed, I don't think it's enough anymore. And again, it depends on the context. It depends on the location. It depends on so many factors. I mean, there's still countries where it's illegal.
Yeah.
There are still countries that are way worse, like set back in these topics. Having their rainbow ad, I think that's a completely different impact than having it here.
I think the issue is also it's become a politicized thing, when what it should really be is just raising awareness that these people exist and that it's probably more people than you think it is in your community, and that we should be accepting of everybody.
Yeah, ideally, like it would be great if they would implement like a safe workplace, or you're really like, okay, we are actually looking for people like the Frauenquote, where people like Frauenquote, diversity quota.
Yeah, it's important that you actively look for people of all, a diverse group of people, because they represent.
Yeah, and really actively look. I know a lot of people shit on the Frauenquote. What is that in English? I keep using the German word.
It's like
the diversity hire, basically.
Yeah.
Where you like actively hire people from the community, LGBTQIA plus community, or like women.
Or women, yeah.
And I know like a lot of people are like, we don't need like there's a lot of criticism around
people
that.
Criticize it because they think that you're hiring people not based off of merit, but based off of their race, or whether they are a woman, or whether they are trans, or whether they are disabled. Like, it's also benefits disabled people, the DEI hiring. But what you're actually doing is that you're just making sure that there's inclusivity, and there's an equal representation within your company of many different groups.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you will always find someone who is qualified and also disabled, or someone who is qualified and also a woman, someone who is qualified and is also Black. Like, it's not something that they are either or. And that's the thing that people get caught up in.
Yeah. Like, I think it's actually a very good thing, because then you actively search for these talents that might get like not recognized, or you might not like look out for. Like, for example, let's take another example. In our field, it's a thing to have like design conferences and talks, etc. And of course, again, there's like a really, really big percentage. The majority is men.
Yeah.
These talks. There have been like some research where it really just has like a really low percentage of women speakers, and just having awareness of that, and then implementing, okay, wait, we need at least 30%, whatever, women speakers, and then actively look for them. Or like awards where we were like also part of the jury, where I do believe that it was because we are women, and we were actively scouted.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, sure, it's kind of like, okay, would they have reached out to us if we weren't women? But then again, whatever, at least they did reach out to us. And I do think we are very qualified for that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that we probably were contacted because we're women, but it doesn't change the fact that we're also very qualified to do the job.
Exactly.
And I think that's what people forget about the hiring and the inclusivity. It's all you're doing is you're just making sure that you are looking at really everybody, and not just the group you would probably look towards just based off of internal biases and internal also just habits.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time it's I don't think it's ever mostly not intentional. I don't think that there are a lot of people who are like, oh, okay, this name sounds foreign, I'm not going to hire them. But it does happen. And if you are told like to specifically ignore those things, then it won't happen as often.
Yeah, because you're aware of it.
Yeah.
It's like you have a bad habit and someone makes you aware, and then you can be like, yeah, you can be aware of it, basically.
Yeah.
I think this is like something similar, not just awareness, but also like, okay, we are aware of it. Plus we try to meet certain metrics. That's normal. Like, even when you change your habit in your private, like not even having to do anything with work, you try to change habits, you're going to have like some milestones. Are you meeting milestones to actually change your habits? And I think it's something similar. We as a society are trying to change quotation marks, those habits.
Yeah, and I don't think it's bad to diversify a company. Like a lot of people, I don't know, seems to think that that's not a good thing. But why would it be a negative thing to have a company that represents the population of the country that it's in? So it's the same, and I do think it's important to also include people from the LGBTQA plus community, because otherwise what happens is, let's say a company doesn't really think about those things, or doesn't actively promote that, or doesn't actively promote like inclusivity and awareness of what it means to be part of that community and why you should be accepting of it. And then you just have a bunch of people who are prejudiced against those people, and then you have one person who's gay. Like, imagine what it would be like to work there as that one person.
Yeah.
That would be horrible, probably. You'd probably hear, like, you know, weird jokes about being gay. And then they can't even say anything because they're, like, one person.
Yeah.
But if you had, like, a group of them, then one person says something, then you have a group of people telling them, bro, that's not cool, don't say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, like, I remember that my mom told me that in their company, they had a lesbian woman, and people were talking not to her face, but behind her back.
Yeah.
And I remember that my mom was like, yeah, shut up. Like, what's it anything to do with anything here?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing the work. Yes, okay, fine. This is the most important thing here. We are going to work, and then we clock out and bye.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's then actually important that you, when you have diversity hires, that you actually are aware of that in the higher ups, in the management position, so you can protect them too. It's not enough to just hire them and then be like, here, you're on your own now.
No, that's what I mean. Like, there has to be active efforts to educate everybody in the company about diversity and inclusivity. Yeah. Even if you're not doing DEI hiring. I mean, I think the DEI programs are also about doing that. It's just about like awareness and education. And that's the thing about like the Pride Month, is that I don't think enough companies are also doing that. Like, they just changed their flag. They changed their logo with the flag on it. They put some flags up outside of their restaurant or whatever. I don't know. Like, you see it all over the city. But then I wonder how much they're doing internally in terms of making people feel safe, and also making it an environment that's safe for the community. That's the main issue.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I said.
And not just during Pride Month. That's the thing.
No, that's like, ideally you would do that throughout the year, and I don't know, like, and then during Pride Month, I don't know, then show allyship. I don't know what the fine line is here, what the balance is.
I think it would just be important obviously, like in our spaces, everything we're saying right now is obvious.
Yeah, because I'm like, duh, of course I agree with you.
But I do experience homophobic or transphobic stuff like within our bubble. Like, as it's usually like men, let's be honest, and I would call it out in that situation. But I don't think that enough people do that, because if they did, I never would even hear those things, you know?
Yeah, especially not.
And imagine they hear those things from like their boss or something, someone they look up to. They might be more inclined to listen to them, because let's be honest, most men are going to listen to other men, and not like some young woman telling them, hey,
stop it,
let's not be homophobic.
Yeah,
because it's always like the women who are crying about things that are not important.
That's true. We're being so emotional.
Yeah, we're being so emotional. It's because we have empathy and care about people.
Yeah, I think it's important to be vocal. It's important to do more than just like, here we change the colors of our logo for a whole month, and then as soon as clock strikes July, it's gone. Like, there was like a lot of instances of those too. But I think I keep looking back at young Rebecca, where I was like, even just that just gave me so much hope and allyship, and it made me feel less alone. But times have changed since then. We have progressed or regressed, depending on where you are at. And I think that even allyship is still super important to see. and to feel surrounded by, and ideally you actually back those things up
Yeah, with actions.
with action. So ideally it's both, but have to say I'm also sometimes happy to just see it.
What should we do this month for Pride Month? We haven't done anything.
Are you going to Pride? I am actively, I don't know what we should do actually.
As a company.
As a company, well, we are employing one person. We are already doing a lot.
We have one person in a position of power.
Hey,
That's actually 50-50. It's pretty good.
there you go.
It's higher percentage than the population.
There you go. And
Yeah.
plus we're also 2 women.
Yeah.
So
We got two DEI hires.
No, but of course it's always
Actually 3, because our designers also.
true.
3 women.
True. So, okay. Actually, I think we are already doing a lot, but
Specific to the LGBT. I was thinking of going to this opening event of this queer, what's it called? QV.
what
It's like
you
a
sent me.
queer house or whatever.
Yeah.
Event space.
I mean, there's always more you can do.
Yeah,
Like-
and it's so funny because it's right around the corner
Yeah.
from this very right-wing extremist group that also has like
Whoa.
their quarters there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I mean, they've been there for a while. They're just doing like a reopening because they did like a redesign.
Okay.
But I think it's a pretty iconic place to be.
Yeah, I think we should definitely rethink of what we can do,
Yeah.
what more we can do, and yeah, so we don't do rainbow washing here.
Yeah.
This podcast.
I do have to say I have some beef with the pride thing as well, which is why I'm on the fence if I want to go at all.
Okay.
Just because I think that a lot of people, this is anecdotal evidence, but a lot of people just use it as an excuse to get really, really drunk and party.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about people who are not part of the community.
Yeah.
And are also not actively trying to dismantle the views towards the community. They're just like, oh, let's go to Pride. It's going to be fun. Like, let's get drunk. Like, yeah, and it is partly about being open
Also,
it's about being open and proud and just being who you are. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that who are also not part of the community, but still I just think it's weird to go into a space that you are not part of and then just use it as an opportunity to get drunk.
totally agree. Sometimes it's great to see the allyship.
Yeah, but
When-
is
when
it
people
allyship?
Yeah, that's it. It's like with the
It's the same
rainbow
thing.
washing, it's not really allyship, but maybe some people who are closeted, some people who are like scared and they see like a turn up of, I don't know how many people come, like, I don't even know how much.
It must be thousands. I don't know how much.
Like a few 10K people show up for a parade in Vienna. That's like a lot of people for Vienna.
Yeah.
And seeing that amount of people, like, wow, okay, I'm not alone. Like, I think it's a bit more nuanced than that. Of course, you should do more. Of course, if you show up there, you should be doing more. But sometimes showing up is already a big step for some people. And sometimes showing up means a lot to young Rebecca, for example.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always in a bit of this in between. I totally agree with you that you should do more. You shouldn't just go invade a space or be part of a space just because you want to party, just because it benefits you in any way, but not help others. But being there might already be a step into the right direction and helping someone. So that's why I'm a little bit
Yeah,
on the
like I
fence.
said, I'm on the fence about it because I just don't feel like it's my place to be. And then, yeah, also I don't want to get drunk and party. So that's the other thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's more of a personal thing. I don't know. Like I said, kind of have beef with the whole thing. But maybe I'm
And I
just
think it's
a hater.
maybe you're just a hater.
I just feel like it's not what it used to be anymore.
Again, I'm like in this position of I'm happy that it's a big event and that people see that it's big and there is like, even if it's just demonstrational, that there's like a lot of support, even though is it really support, we can of course again.
Yeah.
I think we'll just always keep turning, like making circles, because totally agree with you. There should be more than just showing up. You should do
Yeah.
more than just show up. But sometimes showing up is already a nice step into the right direction.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm also not the person who should decide this since I'm in front of the
I mean, I'm not a spokesperson
for the entire community.
I
of
think that
Vienna.
my bar is low. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, in terms of what you find supportive.
Yeah.
Okay.
What my standards
fair.
are in that regard. However, I would also see that that's like a bare minimum, and there should be more. I know that my bar is super low. That's why before we went into this conversation, I was telling you, not sure if I have like a big opinion about this, but I guess I do.
You were like, I don't really have an opinion about this because my hot take is, and then stated your whole opinion. I was like, yeah, we can just do this on an episode.
Yeah, because some like, and which I again agree with, like some have a super different stance on it, and that allyship should be more than just showing up. Yeah, of course it should be more. Ideally, you do a lot. Ideally, you dedicate whatever you can do, you dedicate your resources to it. But you always have to pick your own battles. Sometimes people just don't care enough. But hey, at least they care enough to show up. I don't know. Everyone has a different standard of
I think the thing
allyship.
Is that, I think I just hold big companies to a higher standard than the average person.
Oh, yes.
Like obviously for the average person going to Pride, maybe that's your one day of the year that you show your allyship, fine. Like that doesn't matter. But a company that has the resources, has the money to make lasting changes should be doing more than just rainbow washing.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Glad we agreed at the end of this episode.
Yeah, we did it.
I love that I had to convince you.
No, it's like nothing about convincing. Again, it's about I agreed with you from the start.
It's just I know you. The disclaimer at the start was that you agreed.
Exactly, because I really agree. It's just that I have this little other perspective in me because of how I grew up and because of what I experienced.
Obviously, I mean, for somebody who was in the 70s, I think it was the 70s.
Just when, seeing, imagine just Coca-Cola.
Started. Yeah, I mean, that would have been unheard of. So,
exactly. Yeah. I saw that, I think, when Ellen DeGeneres came out in I think in a TV show or something, that companies started pulling out of the ads and sponsorships. Yeah. So that's what I mean. At least now they're there. No, not all of them.
Except for Bud Light.
Looking at you. No, but at least they're there.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, such a difficult topic.
I mean, the leader of the right-wing party in Germany is a lesbian.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think it's like...
So there's that.
Yeah, there's her.
Do you think it was a DEI hire? No, it couldn't have been.
No, I don't think that...
No, that's I will never understand that. It's a mystery that she wants to be in that party, and it's a mystery that they got so many votes despite of the fact that it's a woman and also a lesbian woman.
Because they're fighting bigger causes than gays and lesbians.
Okay, so they're allies.
I think in this cause they're allies. I don't know. I have to do way more political in-depth research.
I think individually they're not, but as a whole they're whatever about it.
Yeah, it holds them together.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a whole other topic of discussion. Maybe we will start a political podcast.
Oh my god, I would have so much to say in a political podcast. I can't lie. Maybe we should change this to never study politics.
Wow. That would be very controversial takes I don't think controversial takes for us in our bubble and for our standards. We're like, da. But I think people listening, not everyone is. Maybe even this episode is actually quite controversial for some people.
Yeah, we're probably going to get cancelled.
Let's see.
Don't cancel us, please.
Yeah, please. We're just trying to be allies. We are showing up.
You don't need to be an ally. I'm the one that's an ally.
That's true.
Or can you be an ally to your own community? No. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people don't even show up within their own community.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
I don't know, it's another topic of discussion. But I think you can be both. Potato.
Yeah.
Does it really matter?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this a lighthearted end to the episode?
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Never Went to Business School. Don't forget to follow us here on Spotify. And if you enjoy our content, check out our YouTube channel for more educational videos and subscribe to our newsletter on Substack.